Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing well. I just wanted to take the time to record a video about my book stash, my yarn book stash. So welcome. I hope you have something warm and cozy to drink with you. Maybe tea, maybe coffee, maybe warm water. Who knows? I don't know. I certainly do not. But whatever you're drinking, please tell me because I would love to know. I would always love a good tea or coffee recommendation. So please drop it in the comments. Drop it in the chat. I hope you enjoy watching. I kind of thought it would be exciting. I am such a book hoarder. It's really a problem. I do love my local library, and I know in my last video I talked a lot about Libby, which is an app on your phone or your device that you can download that connects to your local library, so you can download audiobooks or books to your Kindle, things like that. So we do love a good library, but I also do have quite the book stash, and it's a little out of control. I just went on a major book de-stash, I guess. I don't really know what to call it, but I guess a book de-stash, and took a bunch of my books to McKay's. So that was awesome. But also I do have so many books, and a lot of those books are knitting books. So I wanted to just kind of take you guys on a little library tour of all the knitting books that I currently own, the knitting books that I'm hoping to purchase in the next couple months, just some really lovely designers, some really lovely collections of patterns and techniques and stitches and all of the things. So I have kind of pulled different categories. I have so many knitting books that are on my TBB, to be bought, TBP, to be purchased. But I do also want to say, for a lot of knitting books, it's really great as well to partner with your local library, because as a kid, that's literally all I would do. I would just check out different pattern books and kids' how-to books and things like that on crocheting or knitting from the local library. And that's how I learned to knit and crochet so well, because I was kind of self-taught in a way by YouTube, which is so sweet. But we had this local library that was like in walking distance from my house growing up, and so I would just walk there all the time and check out books, and it was a lovely experience. So I will say, if purchasing knitting books does not feel in the cards for you, or doesn't feel like something you want to support in that way, or something you're not able to financially contribute to, that is completely fine. Check in with your local library. They have probably a really, really, really wonderful selection of books, and I have lots of friends that I have checked out books from the library, and I myself have checked out books from the library in order to make patterns that I was not able to purchase at the time. I personally choose to buy a lot of pattern books because I really want to support the designers in that way. But again, supporting designers comes in so many different ways: liking project pages on Ravelry, putting patterns in your queue on Ravelry, posting project pages, linking a project to the pattern on Ravelry. Those are all things that are completely free if you got a pattern from the local library, that still really, really support designers and help get their pattern out there and help promote the pattern and bump it up in the algorithm on Ravelry and different things like that. So if that is more sustainable for you and where you are right now, I just wanted to put that out there, that's also really, really helpful for supporting the designers that you love and want to support. All right, so my first category are my sock books. Y'all know that I love some socks. I'm a little sock addicted, but I only have 3 sock books, which is crazy to me, but I do have several in my wish list to purchase. My first one that I wanted to highlight is The Sock Project. We love her. So this is by Summer Lee. From Summer Lee Design Co. She is wonderful. She's also a YouTuber. She's basically famous in the sock knitting world. She's just absolutely incredible. And so I have this sock project book by her. It's just lots of fun designs, and it comes in different categories as well. So there are different sections in the book. I'm not going to open the book for copyright purposes, but it does come in different sections. There's a section on colorwork socks. There's a section on textured socks. Just different categories of knitting for whatever floats your boat. So this book is really so sweet and dear, and her socks are just always so colorful and lovely and just exciting and fun. And I really love that, because I think we are becoming more and more beige as a society, which in some ways might be good, but in other ways not so much. So it's just really fun to see how colorful her socks are and how bright of colors she chooses for her designs. And yeah, this is the sock project. All right, my next sock book that I wanted to highlight is The Joyful Colorwork Socks. This is by Charlotte Stone from Stone Knits. She is incredible. She also has a YouTube channel, and she really does a lot of classes on like knitting techniques and colorwork socks and different things like that. So her sock designs, she has 2 books out, I believe, and 1 third book that's on its way, which is very exciting. And I will mention that Summer Lee also just released her 2nd sock book, which is so incredible. I need to pick it up because there's so many patterns in there that are just so adorable, and I really want to support her. But this Joyful Colorwork Socks, actually my brother gave me this book for Christmas this past year, so that's like really funny because my brother could not care less about knitting. He really could not care less about knitting, but I was like, hey, this is the book I want for Christmas, so he just bought it for me. It's really funny. Charlotte Stone, she has so many cutie little designs on her socks, like from little cats, and she has one that's cows and one that's dogs, and lots of different pattern designs, like some that are really cute, like the lavender socks that she has have like lavender flowers on them, and book as well. There's like one pair of socks that's completely covered in lips called Fashion is My Passion, and has lipstick lipstick something. What do you call that? Lipstick something. I don't know. You can tell I don't really wear makeup very much. So anyways, but then she has like some socks that have like watermelons and other socks that have like ice cream popsicles, and she has several different like seasonal socks as well, like some for Christmas, some for Valentine's, some for St. Patrick's Day, just lots of different socks for different holidays and special occasions. So that's really sweet. She is absolutely genius in her sock designs, and her designs as well are so intuitive. When it comes to sock knitting, they really help walk you through the process, and she really designs with a lot of really rich knowledge background that she has of, you know, the mechanism of stranded color work and catching floats and different things like that. She really makes sure to design her charts in ways that are very accessible for many different kinds of people from many different knitting backgrounds and levels. So that's really exciting. This is the Joyful Colorwork Socks by Charlotte Stone. All right, my next book is pretty famous. I feel like everyone and their mother knows about this book, but this is I think it's the 1st edition, but I could be wrong. It might be the 2nd edition. Anyways, this is 52 Weeks of Socks. This is by a variety of designers. They kind of put together, as you know, if you know Lane, they put together many collections of designers' works and compile them into these 52 weeks of socks or sweaters or different things like that. They do have multiple volumes of this as well, so they have multiple different sock books that are compilations of different designers' works and everything, and some of the designs in this book are actually so stunning, like beautiful. And this is a really great book as well that you could probably check out from your library. I would assume that most libraries have this book, and I know for a fact that several of my friends have checked out this book from their local library, so that would be a really great option. It's really great because it kind of walks you through a year of sock knitting, but also really walks you through so many different techniques. I've learned so many different techniques from this book, and yeah, if you really want to advance your knitting and especially your sock knitting game, this is a really great book to do so, because it has some really, you know, vanilla basic sock patterns, but also has some really complex, more advanced sock patterns, and they're just also beautiful. So yeah, I would highly recommend picking up this book from your local library or purchasing it. And yeah, I think a lot of the designers as well have released their own like individual PDF files of their patterns that are in this book now. So I could be wrong, but I believe most of the designers have individual patterns for purchase from this book. If you are interested in like 1 or 2 of the patterns and not the whole book, but you still want to support those designers by purchasing rather than getting from the library, that would be an option for you. All right, my next category. Henry Blake. Hello? Do you have something to say? He does not. He is a pacer. I currently have my door closed so that I can minimize sound because my roommate is sleeping, but he gets a little restless when the door is closed, but it's very hard to kick him out of the room because him and my cat Indigo are absolute best friends, and they cannot be separated, and they freak out when they're separated. So it's very sweet, actually, because Indigo obviously sleeps in my room with me every night. So when I open the door in the morning, Henry's always right outside the door waiting for Indigo. It's so sweet. It's so tender. They're just like truly best friends. All right, so my next category of knitting books are knitting books that are for garments. This is really the category that I really want to expand this year because there are just so many designers like Kutavakika and some of the other people that are just really dear, beloved designers to me have released some books recently, and that I just really want to pick them up and knit some specific patterns from those books that aren't really released in like singular format. So yeah, my first book that I got, it is called Knitting for Radical Self-Care. This book it's really more of like a reading book as well. It has some patterns in it as well, and it has some how-to like how to knit and different things like that. But really I love just this idea of radical self-care and kind of, pushing against the consumerist ideals that are so often like flooding our society right now. Like we just have to constantly be doing something and have to constantly be producing. And, I think some of us can fall into that trap as well when it comes to crafting and things like that as well. But I will say that crafting is really resistance and activism in the way that it just goes against, big factories and big corporations that are pushing these ideals. And knitting and crafting in itself is so regulatory because the repetitive movements, the use of both hands really activates the parasympathetic nervous system and helps send calm to your body and helps reprocess memories through the bilateralization. And Henry is trying to get out, so I might try to go let him out real quick. Hold on. Okay, Henry has exited the premises. So I'm just going to continue talking about, I don't even know what I was talking about. But yeah, this book is just really amazing. This book is by Brandy Cheyenne Harper, and it's just a really lovely collection of thoughts and ideas helping to connect to your values and recenter back to what's important in your crafting journey. And yeah, it's just a really awesome book. So I would highly recommend picking this up just to learn from this author. And yeah, it's wonderful. All right, my next book is Arctic Knits. This book is very, very, very beloved to me. I've had this book for quite a while, and the patterns in this book are just absolutely wonderful. And I am just overjoyed to support this designer. It has just so many collections of hats and mittens and sweaters, and I also, from this particular designer, have so many other single PDFs of her patterns and different things. She also just came out a few months ago with her second book. She really talks about pet grief and just grief in general and creativity and her process of losing her best friend, her rabbit that she had as a pet, but was really more so like family. And so that's kind of how Indigo is for me. If you haven't noticed, he really is like my child. So the day that he goes, I will be unwell. So I'm terrified because he's just gotten me through so much. And as someone who has such intense anxiety, he just really has like been by my side and really helped me in so many ways. And, that's scientifically proven. It's researched that, having a pet and just like being particularly close with them, even the vibrations that when cats like purr or when they're like laying across you or cuddling with you, like sends regulation into your body. And so anyways, yeah, I just really identify with her a lot, and her patterns are absolutely wonderful. I have decided, I know last video I was talking about these particular yarn skeins and potentially wanting to design some mittens or something with these particular yarn skeins, but I really think I want to make some of the mittens from Arctic Knits just because they're just so wonderful and lovely. And it's crazy because in Chattanooga it's like freezing one day and like burning hot the next day. Like I literally have my fan on right now because I'm sweating in shorts and short sleeves. So this is insane. So I don't know. I'm gonna make mittens anyways though. So like who cares about what season it is outside? Make what you want to make. You know what I'm saying? I know that's something that's like really important in like the pattern release game of like really planning out the seasons in which you release certain different things, like, you know, releasing tees and tank tops and more summer related designs in the summer or in the warmer months, and then the sweaters in the colder months. But I just think that's sad, because if I see a beautiful sweater I want to make, I'm going to make it anytime. And also, sweaters take so long to make. My cat is tweaking. He sees a light on the wall and he is trying to get it. And anyways, but if I see a beautiful sweater pattern that I want to make, it's going to take a month or 2 or maybe even 3, depending on the pattern, to make. And so by the time if I start that at the beginning of summer, by the end of summer, it's almost fall, and I'll have a sweater prepped and ready for fall. So that's all I'm saying. Anyways, okay, off topic. But my last book that I have is the Knitting for Olive pattern book. This book is so just flawless. Knitting for Olive has just really... They just know what they're doing. They know their brand. They know their style. They know what they're doing. They are such an incredible team of designers. Their yarn is incredible, so luxurious, so incredible. Their colorways are absolutely stunning. I just have no notes. No notes is what I have. I have several different patterns from this book that are already in my Ravelry queue and my personal Ravelry page. Ravelry page. And yeah, it's just absolutely flawless. There's just like some summer related tops, there's some sweaters, there's cardigans, there's wraps, there's just lots of different really precious ideas. And also this book talks a lot about the yarn. Hi. Oh, Indigo. And the light, his eyes look crazy because they're like so bright blue. Anyways, yeah, this book also talks a lot about their process of like where their yarn comes from, where the materials come from, the animals that they take their fibers from to make the yarn for Knitting for Olive, and all of those things. So that's really cool to see like the behind the scenes process. A lot of things that are on their website are really expanded upon in this book. So that's just really awesome. All right, so that's it for my garment collection. I really want to get the Knits to Wear book by Kutava. It's just absolutely flawless, so stunning. There's so many patterns in there that I'm like desperate to make. And I asked for it for Christmas from my sister. She was gonna get it, but then when she went on the website, everything was sold out. So good for Kutava, sad for me. But I will be getting it soon, hopefully. My birthday is in a week. Just crazy. Indigo. You've got to chill out, brother in Christ. This man, he's crazy. He gets so hyperactive when I open the window blinds. Anyways, okay, my next category are just kind of like knitting techniques, pattern or stitch definition books, different things like that. So first I have the Encyclopedia of Knitting Techniques. This book is really helpful for me for my pattern designing work. It has so many different techniques of like cast-offs, cast-ons, increase, decrease techniques that I personally have never used before and are really helpful to think about in terms of construction and like those really detailed finishing edges and cast-ons and all of those things. So that's been so helpful for me in this book. And it also has a really big stitch dictionary. There are lots of online stitch dictionaries as well, but this in particular has stitch motifs, I guess, that some are cables, some are lace, some are textured stitches with knits and purls. There are lots of different kinds of ribs. There are some colorwork techniques in here as well. And so it's just a really like all around pretty comprehensive resource if you want to really advance your knitting, advance your techniques in terms of those details of casting on, casting off, increasing, decreasing, some of those stitch definition, just pool of knowledge that you might have or want to gain. So this is a really, really awesome resource. My next is very similar. It's the Doodle Knit Dictionary. It's so cute. This little dictionary is so cute. They have several different resources. This is by David and Charles. Specifically, well, it was published by David and Charles, and it's specifically by Jamie Lomax. And it's 200 just like little mix and match motifs, and it has some like vanilla patterns that you can follow to mix and match with different doodle techniques. So there's like mittens, and there's a hat, and there's a scarf, there's some socks, I think, all at the end, and it's just like a vanilla almost template of a pattern that you can follow based on whatever stitches you find, like stitch colorwork motifs you find in the book that you want to add. So it's really customizable and really cute, and I think I got this for just inspiration and also just to elevate my ceramic colorwork game. Specifically, colorwork is something that I'm fairly more recent to in the past couple of months because I've just been scared of it my entire knitting career for literally no reason. It's like really not that serious. It's really not. Yeah, this book is just really cute, and they also have like a card deck as well with the same thing, but you can just like, even if you're like, there's so many options, I don't know what to choose for my like customizable whatever that I'm making, you can like just randomize and pick out different like cards from the card deck and make something in that way as well. So that's a really cute resource. All right, so those are kind of design-ish, but I have some books that are very specific to my design process, and some of these books are very recent purchases, so I'm still kind of sifting through all that they offer. They're just absolutely rich fountains, overflowing fountains of knowledge, and knowledge that I am dire desperate need for. So yeah, I am obviously familiar with so many different constructions for knitting sweaters and different things like that, but particularly in the grading game, it's just a whole new ballpark. Oh, he hates me now. Are you just gonna lay right next to me? Oh. Anyways, so the first book that I wanted to kind of chat with you about is The Beginner's Guide to Writing Knitting Patterns. This is more of a guide about like the formatting, that language, the actual writing piece, rather than construction. There are some elements of construction, but I found this the most helpful for like standardizing your format and how to explain certain techniques to knitters in ways that they'll understand what to do, what not to do, what's helpful, what's not helpful, things like that. This pattern book is really, really helpful for that specific purpose. And it also has, I believe, some knitting patterns. I could be wrong. Oh, it also kind of like expands on copyright laws and licensing and like uploading to Ravelry and Etsy and the different, I just dropped it, and the different things that kind of go around those spheres, which is really helpful for me, a new knitwear designer and someone that's still really, learning the trade and all of those things. All right, the next one is Amy Herzog's Ultimate Sweater Book. This book, a fount of knowledge. She goes through many different sweater constructions, particularly in how the shoulders are constructed. So drop shoulder, raglan, round yoke, satin sleeves, saddle shoulder, all of those different constructions. She goes in really deep detail. And also there are lots of different like graphs for measurements and grading considerations. And then at the end, she has several different patterns that kind of reflect those different constructions so that you can practice with the patterns that are in the book. This book is absolutely incredible. Highly recommend if you would like to learn more about different knitting constructions, expand your advanced knitting game, or if you're getting into designing, this is a really wonderful resource. My last book that I wanted to talk to you about, she is also wonderful. This is The Top-Down Sweaters, Basic Designs in Multiple Sizes and Gauges by Anne Budd. And this is very similar to the last book, where it kind of really walks you through comprehensive guide of designing different sweater constructions, kind of the ins and outs of the different seamless yoke, raglan, satin sleeves, saddle shoulder, all the different things, how to construct them, some tables on considerations for sizing and measurements for different things like the armhole depth and the shoulder slope and all those different things that are just really, really helpful when it comes to grading and the considerations for each construction model. And then it also has some patterns at the end. So it's just really wonderful. As you guys know, I really, really prefer top-down knitting. I'm not super drawn to bottom-up designs, but I have done several bottom-up designs before, and those are also lovely in their own right. But personally, I'm a top-down girly. So those are kind of all the knitting books that I wanted to share in my knitting library. We are still collecting, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that. All right, friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned about some new books and designers that you maybe didn't know about before. I would love to hear what is in your knitting book stash as well. Yeah, and also what books you're excited to purchase or check out from the library in the near future. Also, one thing I did not mention earlier is that if you have a knitting book that you really, really, really want and the library does not have it in their stock, you can always request the book to be purchased by the library. Just say, hey, I would really be interested in checking out this book, but I notice you guys don't have it in your library. They can look through other library stock in the nearby area database. Like maybe they don't have it at the downtown library, but they might have it at a different library, and they can just borrow it from that so that you can check it out. Or sometimes libraries will just purchase the book that you want but they don't have. So that's also a really great option if you're wanting a particular yarn pattern library book. But yeah, please let me know what books, what designers, what upcoming releases you are very excited for. I would love to hear. Thank you for watching. Bye. And you go say goodbye. Say bye. Say goodbye. Bye.